Okay, so listen to this. Now listen to this. This is a guitar stem I just extracted from that exact mix using Mureka AI. No DAW, no plugin, just a browser. But here's the real question. How accurate is it? I didn't just test this on some random track. I ran Mureka against my own original recordings. Stems I recorded myself. Stems I can just compare directly. I'm gonna show you exactly what Mureka's got right, what it didn't, and whether it is actually useful for guitar players. If you learn songs by ear, if you want to analyze guitar tones, or if you want just to create backing tracks without the guitar part, this is actually pretty useful. So let's just test it properly. Just a quick note, this video is sponsored by Mureka, but I'm testing it the same way I test everything else: real audio, real comparisons, honest results. I'm a musician, not an AI influencer, so what I care about is whether this actually sounds good. So let's just start with the simple mix, just bass, drums and one guitar track, the kind of recording where you'd expect AI to perform well. So you just upload the file, MP3 or WAV, and send it to Mureka's. Okay, so here we have Mureka browser. You just go to Music Edit, and on the splitter, you select the splitter, file upload. I'm gonna select this one from the DAW, the full mix, open. Right, so I'm gonna extract the 4 stems. So we have the bass, drums, guitar, FX and synth. Here's what I'm listening for. First, artifacts, the metallic and watery sound. Second, bleed. Is this guitar just taking into the bass stem or vice versa? Third, transients. Does the attack of each note remain intact or does it get smeared? Okay, so that's clean. The transients are kind of intact. There are subtle artifacts in the background, but the isolation is quite solid. No bass bleeding and good attack on most of the notes. For a simple recording like this, Mureka just handles it really well. But here's where things just get more interesting. What happens when we throw a dense layered mix at it? Because that's the real test. Alright, so this is a high gain mix with low tune guitars that could just easily blend with the bass. Double track guitars, a full rhythm section, the kind of mix where stem separation usually starts falling apart. So let's run the same process. Here is the full song. Okay, so I'm gonna solo the guitar. Here's what I'm hearing. The guitar is isolated, there's basically no bleed from the other instruments from what I can hear, and the bass is not bleeding either. Well, the sound, it's not bad, but it's not perfect either. The main thing I noticed is that watery sound still affecting the track in some moments. It kinda comes and goes, but you can control some artifacts with the tools like Isotope RX. But honestly, if you're just learning songs by ear, you probably won't even care about it. But now comes the question I was most curious about. How close is this to the original guitar stem? Because that's a test most people don't run. That's why I use Spectral Thief to analyze the spectrum. This is what makes this test different. So I used the original guitar stem from my DAW, the actual guitar recording. So now we can do a direct comparison between the source file and Mureka's extraction. Same performance, same take. One is the original recording and the other is the AI's best guess. This is the full mix from that metal mix. Okay, so I just created this project so we can compare Mureka against my original track. Now let's go to the original one. So here's my honest take. The Mureka extraction is surprisingly close, the tone is slightly thinner, you lose a little bit of low end and some harshness in the highs, but from the low mids to the highs, the tone is actually very consistent. But let's look at the data. This is a spectrum analysis of both signals. On the spectrum TIFF, I'm gonna set the target for the blue line on the original guitar. Now on the orange one is gonna be the Mureka stem. Look at the low end, roughly below 250 Hz. You can just see the extracted stem is slightly lower in energy. That's where some of that body is being lost, but from around 250 upwards, the curves are surprisingly close. The harmonic content in the high mids is being preserved really well, and that's important because that's where a lot of the character and articulation of the guitar lives. So if you're using this to learn riffs, analyze tones, study solos, or just create backing tracks, the important information is still there. And honestly, if I played this inside the full mix with a little bit of EQ, I don't think most people would be able to tell which one is which. Let's see the results in the Spectrum TIFF. Now with the EQ, the Sooth and the Pro Q3. It seems to me that the mids are a bit closer to the original one. The low end is being a little bit tighter and the harshness is being a little bit pushed up as well. And now we're gonna test with all of the instruments. That's the fun part, right? I just think the original one is a little bit more darker and the stem separation with the EQ and everything is a little bit more open. So where do I land on Mureka stem separation? First, it's fast, upload, separate, export. Second, the accuracy on cleaner recording is generally where it performs the best. Third, dance mixes do show some artifacts, but you can't just control a lot of that with external software. Finally, no, this is not a replacement for original multi-tracks. If you have the real stems, use the real stems. But if you don't, this is honestly one of the closest AI solutions I ever tested. And these tools are evolving incredibly fast, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if in a few months this just gets even closer to perfection. For learning songs and analyzing guitar parts, this already works really well. And as a bonus, Mureka also includes useful tools like speed control, so you can just slow down solos, for example, and you can just go to speed. And transpose tools, if you want just to practice riffs in another key. For example, two tones. You can go really lower. You can also remove the guitar completely and jam with the backing track yourself, which is actually really useful. I have left a link to Mureka down in the description if you want to try it for yourself. Using that link just helps to support the channel at no extra cost for you. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more guitar and gear content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.